Hello people and welcome back to News Review. The skills of the 3 jackpots have been released along with the card art of a few other small prizes. There is quite a lot to get through, so I'll try to make it a bit quicker. So the team skill of EVA, which is what's special, there are two things special. One of them is AT field and one of them is EVA sync rate. So EVA sync rate is basically like fuel, but for this series it goes from 0 to 100, but you don't start up at 0. I believe you start up at 50. It says here, it should say in a bit, but that's just running off memory. Yeah, here, 50% sync rate after you enter the stage. It's a bit harder to gather than fuel, as you need to dissolve runestones of the character's attributes in their columns in the first batch. So for example, Shinji, a water god, you will need to dissolve water runestones in the column under him in order to charge his sync rate. When the sync rate reaches 100%, it won't be decreased even if the team HP is deducted. So if you get hit when it is not 100, then your sync rate will decrease. And there's a whole load of effects that appear in the table. But the second thing, AT field, is basically a damage shield. So for example, Shinji as leader and ally, he has a damage shield of 50k. It can tank just any normal damage, as in like the enemy hits you, but it can't like block any weird like direct damage, such as like poison or like something like that. So right here, yeah, for every runestone you get 8%. If you get whacked in the face, you get -6%, and you get attack boost up to 1.5, and also ignoring defense, which is useful. This is just a collab exclusive ability, I think. When you have AT field, you ignore the enemy's AT field. But hey, yeah. So this is just a good explanation here. Yeah, it's just a damage shield basically. The AT field can absorb damage, and once it's done, you take HP damage. You can tank like combo attacks where the enemy hits you more than once in a turn, and the shield basically counts as temporary HP that is susceptible to it's temporary HP, but only in the sense that, like, you know, it's attack based, not status based. Anyway, first off, let's go over Shinji. Okay, so you might not here, but this series is a bit of reading comprehension, which I don't really enjoy, but like, again, there's like really two ways you can go about it. You can keep making numbers bigger, or you can make the card special, which involves basically making the card an essay, both of which I don't really like, but I mean, like, what can you do, right? It's like, I like this game, but mobile games tend to have a certain lifespan, and that's really why. But anyway, Shinji as a leader, he runs like primarily a rainbow god type thing going on, plus EVA pilots, of course. HP recovery times 1.69, which is pretty standard nowadays. Heart has the effect of attribute of runestones, pretty good. For each attribute of runestones dissolved, the character launches an extra attack of that attribute. So this is basically who's that? That character from Starburst Pulses. I'll put her up if I remember. Built into the leader skill. Also concentrates the damage on leader and ally. By dissolving 3 or more groups of runestones, team attack times 2.2 additionally, and you deal times 2 damage on god enemies, which becomes times 4 on both sides, of course. So, apart from that, you get... Okay, this is... I'm going to explain each point here. One is AT field, I already explained that. Shinji's AT field is 50k, pretty good. The second one is that everything has the effect of attributes of EVA pilots. So, for example, everything is water when you have Shinji. Everything is fire when you have this other card. Everything is light when you have this card, and so on. You ignore Petrified Moonstones. You can just move over them to restore them, just like the 1% jackpot of gods and demons, plus 2.5 movement, 2.5 seconds of movement time, regardlessly. Pretty good. You get the ability of Positron Cannon when you equip the Dragonware Positron Cannon on Shinji. EVA Sync Rate already explained, and this point already explained. Okay. The ability of Positron Cannon is, this is like Diamond's like crystallization ability, if anyone remembers that, not like the Greek's SR ability. It actually consumes a charge in your Draconic. Restore orbits in black, white to original colors. Ignore Electrified. Leader attack times 10. Ignoring defense is just pretty much useless because, I mean, hopefully you have a sync rate at 100. But really the only thing you want out of this Draconic is probably leader attack times 10 for a large amount of damage. So yeah, everything has the effect of attribute runestones. That's what I said. One thing I forgot is that water and light has the effect of heart runestone, so it helps at your recovery a little bit. And yeah, on to his actives. Active. He has one active in this form. First active is CD8. For 1 round, the character's attack times 4. Extended movement time 25 seconds. That's quite nuts. I think everyone just glanced over this one, but I personally feel like even when he's not transformed, yes, he can transform into this form right over there, but 25 seconds is really good. Frozen Moonstones, like him as leader, you can ignore like pretty much, you can ignore a lot of stuff. And also he refreshes AT field. So AT field is, I don't know if anyone's particularly talking about it. I think it's really, really OP because you can refresh it like all the time if you have the correct cards in the team. So Shinji himself can refresh AT field. I'll go over what other stuff can refresh it a bit later. He can switch, obviously. The limit of the character's sync rate becomes 400%, and if you're at 100%, you become 200%. So you increase by 100%. Explode the columns of EVA pilots to generate enchanted garments of that character's attribute. So basically, you get a good board of columns of runestones if you run the whole EVA package, which I will give a little bit of how to build a team. I don't really know because the card's not out yet. So yeah, this tier list is probably going to be maybe moved around a little bit after the card's already out, because that way I can see what's actually going on, what cards are good with him, and it's not just theory. But at the end of the round, he does it again. Okay. When he transforms, he gains a little bit more attack, and when the craft apparition, when the Draconic is disabled or you've used up the Draconic, team attack times 1.5 additionally. So on both sides, that is something good, because I can't do math in my head. You get extra attack basically by exhausting your Draconic, but that's really not needed. I think this team has more than enough damage. So he has two actives. First one, he runs on EP, of course. First one is EP8. Explode all runestones and petrified runestones to generate enchanted runestones of 5 attributes. For 2 rounds, the character's attack times 3. Really good since it's concentrated. By leveling attribute of runestones, the character launches an extra attack of that attribute. Wait a minute. Wasn't this in the... Okay, so it... Okay, a little bit weird. He basically doubles his own damage / attacks again. So, like, I think this stacks. So, this point here in the leader skill, it stacks with this point here in the active skill. I just got a little bit confused. You ignore puzzle field, really good. And you refresh AT field, really good. His second skill, restore Oris's normal state, time tunnel, and inactivate the enemy based on the character's sync rate. When you're at 300 to 400, you inactivate them for 3 rounds. This is like a stat on the enemy. This is really good against enemies that don't have uncontrollable on them. So, the team skills all remain the same except 0.5 right here. 50% chance to activate the character's skill automatically when you reach sync rate of 400. So, you have a 50% chance of activating one of the character's skills automatically. EP will be consumed, but you don't need to have enough EP. So if EP is like, if it's less than 8 or 10, it'll just do it anyway. So this is both good and bad, as I've seen many people talk about. It's because, you know, it's good because you get free skills. It's bad because you can't control when or what you get. I think that if you have both Shinji on leader and ally at 400%, you have nothing to worry about because you can basically, like, you want to have like some safeguards against him activating the wrong skill, but generally, if you have both leader and ally at 400, then you're basically good because each of them have. This is as a member, so it's independent of where he is. So each of them has the same, like, you basically like increase your chance of activating it by a lot. So you have damage like through the roof basically every turn because mathematically you can. I know like this doesn't make sense in terms of probability, but like yes, 50 plus 50 does not equal 100 in this case, but you do get a good chance that you'll activate one of his skills, and if you don't, I am pretty sure like you can survive. This team's survivability is not bad because of the AT field. So that's it for Shinji, and I don't know how much time I used for that. I need to drink some water. Alright, next up is Ray, Light God. As a leader, we skip over that because that's not really that good. Yeah, her AT field is 40k instead. This is just, I'm skipping over this because this, like, you really don't want to be using the sub Jackpots as leaders. They really pale in comparison to Shinji. So, yeah, she has 2 actives. Well, the second one requires Shinji to be in the team. The first one is restore the board, explode the board, deal 50 mil light damage to all enemies, which is really what I think makes this card really good. 50 million light damage is a lot. You can ignore, I mean, if the enemy's HP is low enough, you can just like bomb them, essentially. So it's really good, I think. It outside of EVA, and the reason for that is because she can't refresh AT field. not even in the active skill 2. But she just can't. So you would put her in Shinji's team because you want Moonstones to have the effect of light, but there aren't that many. I mean, there are some good like god members, or rather there's one that I'm thinking of, but I don't really know. You would be better off putting 2 of these. I don't know names of things yet. But yeah, this is good for a damage bomb. So that's that. Second one, you reset EP of Shinji, the awakened one. You reset her own skill, and she locks herself. Yeah, that's the negative effects. The positive effects are that damage is halved. Defense will reduce to 0. Why do you have this? Explode everything, but as previously mentioned, Shinji can ignore Frozen and Petrified, but then you get 6 rows of enchanted runestones, which is worse than 6 columns of enchanted runestones. Or, sorry, 5 rows, what am I talking about? 5 rows of enchanted runestones, which is okay. Attacks could only be launched by Shinji, like the awakened Shinji, not a big deal because damage is concentrated on him. Everything has everything, but twice as good. And basically, frickin' the effect of Schrodinger / Seal from like the recent Ultimate stage, or Saint Seiya. Again. And finally, ignore enemies. Like, this is so stupid. You reduce the enemy's defense to 0, and then you ignore the defense. Why would you, like, okay. So the reason why this card is pretty bad is because this skill is basically useless. It overlaps on itself and also Shinji like quite a lot, and the negatives of resetting it, resetting EP to 0 is just too much. It's not good. I don't know what to say. Next up is Asuka, Fire God. Same, we can skip her leader skill. Basically, she works on dissolving a lot of fire runestones, but nah. She also has a 35k AT field, which is getting worse. One thing that is good is that she can ignore burning. That's it, pretty much. Yeah. She can also convert runestones under herself, which is basically, if you have duplicates of this card, then you can get a lot of fire runestones, but that's not really like a thing you would expect to do. Like put like 5, I mean 3, you basically need to have 3 plus for her to become like a viable leader. Not good. Her anti-her is good. Point 1. Extra damage ? Not really. If you have Shinji, you basically ignorable. Point 2. Turn the top and bottom row into enchanted god runestones. Good. Point 3. Turn the middle 3 rows into each of these, which is really good because it gives you 6 combos, amelioration, and without destroying the board too much because you have the top and bottom rows to work with. The 10 runestones to be dropped in the first batch will be Enchanted Fire, good for doing something like 30 fire shield. Team attack times 2, good. Refresh AT field, so that's why I said Asuka would be better in Shinji than, who is this card again? Rei, that's right. So if you have Shinji, or I mean, like technically you have 2 Shinji, but basically you want to have 3 characters because all these work on like 3 or more. You want to have 3 EVA characters that can refresh your AT field, plus, or in another circumstance, Shinji plus Asuka plus another like EVA pilot card that you want to have the effect of the attributed runestone. But I don't think it really matters since Shinji concentrates all damage on himself. so it doesn't really matter that much in my opinion. You would probably get away with Shinji plus 2 Asuka or 2 Shinji plus 1 Asuka. That would be my recommendation. Pen is the level up material, and yeah, okay, that's the next card, but briefly I'll talk about why I put this here. Shinji is nearly 175 diamonds worth because of course he is one of the 2 pure god leaders in the meta. The other one is what's his name? Oh my god. The other one is, you know, the light god Jackpot from Gods and Demons. I'm pretty sure y'all remember the name, except I do not. Yeah, that guy. But Shinji doesn't. Shinji outclasses him in damage, and also like board conditions. But obviously, collab characters normally, and this is no exception to EVA, are pretty locked in their own series. In this case, it doesn't really matter much because AT field is, I think, so OP that having 3 cards that refresh it are not that bad. Asuka is really good as a member as well, and Shinji has good actives. So the thing that Shinji is afraid of is any sort of like status thing, like poison and high combo field. There are plenty of god members that can increase your combos. That's good. Poison, I don't really know like what you would do in that case. Probably use a different team, but I don't know. Everyone's pretty much afraid of poison, and it's just especially noticeable because you can't use AT field to shield it. But yeah, if you have also the small prize from Hindu gods, the Earth god small prize, I'm gonna put it up if I remember here, then Shinji becomes really good because you can basically stop worrying about the damage. In my opinion, at least. I'll have to see when the card comes out. Yeah, and you could make the case for then putting in the Earth one, but as I said, I don't think that's necessary because all the damage is concentrated on Shinji. Okay, that is enough talking. Nearly enough talking for this slide at least. Asuka's good, 50 diamonds. Rei is less good, less than 50 diamonds. All these cards I've just replaced, I think, previous ones with the actual card portrait. These cards turned out not to be free-to-play cards. They turned out into seal cards, so that's great. This guy appeared last time, but he just has card art now. This card does not have card art, which I don't know why. Okay, moving on. We have a free-to-play card that can VR. This is a new guild war thing. This is new. I don't even know. There's, yeah, a load of stuff here. I'm not gonna read it. Probably, like, I'll just mess with it, you know, when the event comes around. But the card. There's the 6th Angel, War God, CD6, randomly change attributes of all runestones. Turn in non-enchanted, enchant the board basically. The more you enchant, the more the damage reduction. He has VR into 2 forms right there. One of them is the same thing, but you ignite enemies and you deal direct damage. The other branch is that you electrify enemies and deal direct damage. So, pretty good, I think. You know, a card that enchants the board and gives the enemy a status of your own choice. If you choose to leave it in this form, you can also have 100% damage reduction. I know it doesn't really work on stamina cans, but you can use like spirit cans. What are these? Something. I think they're spirit. Like this event works on spirit. But yeah, that is it for this week's news review. I hope I didn't bore you with all that reading. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you have any questions, please leave comments. And if you like this, subscribe. I do this every week. And yeah, I'll see you next week. See ya!